Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This match is going to be part of the second set of MST Group 5. We had another pause here between Hero and Dazang. We had that in game 1 as well. Up right hand corner we have Anytime starting as the orange Protoss. Bottom left hand corner we have Hero starting as the teal Zerg. And this is once again on Byzantium 3. And between these guys, I don't know who to favor. Anytime's one of those guys that can play really solidly at any given time. He tends to be pretty consistent in his play. I would call him a solid B-level Protoss, but I wouldn't put him in the A level at all, actually, at least recently. But Hero's been playing fantastically and showed some spurts of absolute genius here and there. And he was really kind of the surprise of last season, really kind of a breakout season altogether, and I'm sure he wants to make a really good run here in the MSL. Looks like a quick scout from Anytime, actually quick pylon drop and then scout from Anytime. Looks like he's setting up for a fast expansion. Let's see if he checks that bottom right hand corner. Drops have been very popular for Zerg on this map, especially in the cheese category, going for quick Hydra drops, going for early lurker pressure, just making sure that they can deny that third expansion for Protoss. It's kind of weird. This map reminds me a little bit of Neo Medusa, just in the fact that you have an easily accessible mineral only, but not in the same because you don't have that temple wall where it's broken up in the back, and there's not as many kind of open flanking positions. So really, Protoss can play pretty defensively on this map altogether, and it's up to the Zerg to either just expand really aggressively and absorb any sort of DTs that might be moving out in the field or whatever, or to again go for that early game win. And as a result, let's see what Hero's up to. I think he is going to go for more of the early game win, especially against a player like Anytime, where if you just leave him alone, it's a very dangerous situation. Looks like he's opening up for a 12 hatch right off the bat in this bottom left-hand corner. Anytime should be scouting that shortly. And it looks like that Overlord actually going, for a second there, it looks like it's going straight across the map, so it might actually spot Anytime almost immediately. Let's see if we see a drone scout coming across secondarily. There's that forge on Anytime's main. Let's see if he cancels actually that forge to put down an even faster expansion. Should see a spawning pool shortly. There's that spawning pool. So actually a little bit wiser to leave that forge spinning. But at the very least, he is going to be able to go for an earlier nexus, or earlier a little bit of an economy rush. And that's the other thing we'll also see oftentimes from Zerg players, is going for run buys on this map, because it's a pretty wide secondary, and if you don't get that blockade in time, especially if you start off with that Zergling speed, usually see a 9 pool to start if they're really intending to do that, though. But you can really do a lot of harassment inside of Protoss's base. Once that cannon is placed to the north, though, it has a lot of coverage. Basically what I've seen is you'll see the cannon kind of in that northern slot, and what that does is, yeah, that doesn't cover the nexus and the mineral pile as well, but what that does do is that covers all the way around the ramp. I've seen a couple players kind of go with that and then put the second cannon a little bit further behind. But it looks like we're seeing a 3-hatch opening from Hero at this stage, and I expect him to do... Right now it feels like the metagame's been a little bit more towards the Zerg players. It looks like what he's planning on doing is kind of that 4-hatch Spire, take out the Corsair into either 5-hatch or transition from their build, and it's been really, really powerful just because it hits that Protoss fork right where it hurts. You need High Templar, or you need Corsairs, or you need Archons, one of the three, to deal with whatever's working out there in the field. And there's that pylon. There's the cannon I was kind of talking about, which kind of gets the... usually I see it a little bit further north, but a little bit more of a protective position here. Anyway, Hero's starting to move out with a couple Zerglings out in the field. If Anytime just plays standard, I kind of worry about how successful he'll be. Really, Protoss, when they've ended up winning matches against Zerg, it's just been by pure defensive. They don't even go out and harass at all. They don't worry about scouting at all. They just try to get to somewhere around 100 supply with a sizable army, rush out, take an additional base, and just rely on the Protoss ball and bad Zerg mechanics. And I don't think that's going to fly against a guy like Hero. And it looks like Hero actually going layer off a 3-hatch build, so it looks like he's actually sticking to a 3-hatch build rather than going into the 4-hatch variant. So we'll see if he's going to go for the 3-hatch mute. I haven't seen the secondary, whether to see we're seeing additional gas here. It's possible. Yeah, no second gas yet. Or we'll see if he goes into kind of that lurker transition, a single zealot moving out in the field, feeling like there's not enough Zerglings on the ground. That probe scout, I think, is correctly spotting this. Also keep in mind that Hero completely in the dark, but instinctually getting the zealot. Very nice. That's going to sell the zealot immediately, like, whoop! Turn around and go back home. Weapons 1 looks like it's being developed here from Anytime, and I'm kind of curious to see what Anytime's going to open with. I think he's capable of a lot of builds, but again, I feel like I'm actually wondering if he'll go for the Bisu build, go for more the DT, seeing that there's that 3-hatch and that hatchery is kind of exposed to that 9 o'clock expansion. That's going to be hard to defend, especially if you can get some Dark Templar kind of roving out in position. You really need a Dark Templar to try to deny extra expansions as it is, and it looks like that Citadel of Adun being placed Probe Scout just kind of wandering around checking out the men. There's that Spire at that natural secondary, although no second gas to support it, so it looks like it's going to be fewer mutalisks just to provide a little bit of harassment, provide a little bit of map control, and we'll see what's going on from there. And it looks like there's that fourth hatchery. So a little bit delayed, interestingly enough. I'm used to seeing this actually come a little bit faster, the fourth hatch a little bit sooner, but it's going to be 3 hatch planting first, unless we're seeing another hatchery at the 9 o'clock. So a little bit of a variant off the build, and it looks like he's refined it a little bit for his own purposes. We'll see how this works out. I'm going to be kind of curious on how the overall Mutalisk timing as well as the versus Corsair timing, because I feel like because of that lateness of that Spire, he's not going to be able to deny the Corsair scouting all that well, but he might end up with some more minerals to do something else here in the mix, and that's really going to be the difference. He'll have more minerals but less everything else. So there's that Spire being developed, that Corsair. I guess that's actually, now that I think about it, Byzantium, since it's such a wide map, the Corsair, by the time it gets over there, you can actually have the later Spire and the earlier, because you can have the Scourge out just because it's got such a distance to travel, especially at these cross positions. So I think that's actually a clever adjustment on Hero's part. Anytime sending out a couple Zealots here, looks like he's getting one harassed, engaging a little bit, taking a couple free damage, and it looks like Anytime's just going to take out an Overlord, be content there, and try to do some, I assume, some Scourge dodging after this. Just holding off, and a lot of Zerglings being produced. Looks like that Hydralisk Den being planted alongside, and yeah, this is pretty standard Zerg fare right now. It looks like he's still sticking to 4 hatch rather than going up to 5 hatchery. So it's so planning on going for more containment maneuvers, unless those are looks like actually I take that back. 5th hatchery has been planted as well as the evolution chamber, and there's 2 sets of Scourge out in the air to deal with that single Corsair. So really wants to make sure he can take that Corsair out. These Zealots engaging right here, just too many Zerglings though, so gonna have to back off. Oh wow, how did that Corsair not die right there? Unbelievable dodging, and that just a little bit of stupid Zerg Scourge mechanics perhaps, but it looks like he's going to be able to come home safe due to technicality. Run away. Flee. A lot just dedicated Zealots actually moving out without the Archon in the forward field, and with this actually could be pretty effective, particularly with that Weapons 1 coming alongside, and it looks like Speed actually engaging as well for Anytime. Going to be able to get that Scourge back up, and he's actually got 3 Corsairs out in the field, so doing a good job of keeping his Corsair count high. I don't think he's going to get anything accomplished there, but might be able to press into that natural secondary. Looks like, or sorry, that 9 o'clock. It looks like he might just suicide these Zealots in to try to push them through. Pretty well defended though, so no, it doesn't look like he's going to commit, but he has maintained map control, and I think he will be able to push out and take a Nexus here, especially with those Corsairs, because he's going to be able to deal pretty well against any Mutalisks. But no, it looks like he is going to engage at this natural secondary, which might be a mistake. He might end up losing a lot of these Zealots. Looks like he's going to try to run all the way around. Let's see if he goes all the way to the main, but cycling all the way through to try to go against these Sunken colonies. And I really feel like Hero's building placement is just too good and producing a ton of Zerglings. Now engaging, he is able to take out both Sunken colonies, but the Zerglings should be able to clean up the Zealots. And now the Zealots starting to pull back, and also Lurkers planted in plenty of time to deal with this. And it's going to be a while before we're going to see the Observers out.